Hello, I am happy to share a little bit about my story and what brought me to want to create this resource for you. I've been building, remodeling, and have had owned income properties locally, out of state, and internationally for the past 20 years. I've learned that having the flexibility and income potential of an STR versus long-term lease made much more sense for me, and there's several reasons that we'll get into. In my 20s, I pulled together all of my resources and bought my first home in Redondo Beach, California. I spent a couple years remodeling it, sold it, upgraded it to a bigger place by the beach in Hermosa, which was a 2-story, and began leasing the bottom unit monthly, but didn't like that I was unable to use that part of the property. And I realized that there was a strong demand for short-term rentals instead of a typical lease. Not to mention some of the other issues you can get into leases. I knew I was waiting for this direction for my next project, which would allow for more profitability and flexibility. That's when I really got into the world of STRs while building my first custom home in Hermosa Beach, California. For this project, I specifically designed the home with a separate studio with its own access so I could rent it as a separate rental to offset the construction overhead, as well as a guest house for the future buyer. It was a very large project to fund, but that small studio generated $275 a night and was booked 90% of the time, which generated almost $7,000 a month. And I eventually sold the property for a multi-million-dollar profit. So with the gains from that sale, I focused on restoring a historical home in Bend, Oregon, which was eligible for an STR permit. I chose Bend because that's where I grew up and have friends and family, and it's also a very seasonal vacation spot. I love spending time snowboarding, hiking, camping, and all the outdoor activities that this particular location has to offer. It's a very popular vacation destination. My ultimate goal was to create a balance between Oregon and California while building additional streams of revenue and just in general, enjoying both locations. So I specifically set this home up as a short-term rental that I could also use as a vacation home, as well as a great second income stream. So this property would typically lease for about $3,500 a month, but over 3 years I owned it, I ended up generating $100,000 a year in profits and grossing around $8,300 a month. I did end up selling the home to fund new construction here in Playa del Rey, California, which I am building over the next 2 years. The city of LA does allow STRs under the home share program, and each city has their own programs, rules, and licensing procedures that we will teach you how to make sure you are in compliance with. Because of the success of the historical home and my love for Bend as a second home, I had the opportunity to purchase a 2-home property zoned mixed use in a prime location near the river in downtown Bend. The homes were in pretty bad shape, but I knew it was an opportunity in a prime location, and because of the mixed use zoning and the eligibility for STR permits that come along with that. So these are 2 things to look out for if you still have yet to purchase your STR property, as well as figuring out the management beforehand, whether you're gonna manage it yourself or hire a property management company. It also made sense. I had established a great network of contractors and suppliers in Bend. That is critical. And I knew the area well, and the opportunity made sense. So just keep in mind, everyone's plan will be unique depending on what you want to achieve and what really makes sense and what your budget is, and we will give you a process to get clear and make the best decisions for your projects.